Welcome, UCF fans. This is Brian Smith with another edition of the Daily Night. And today is going to be discussion regarding what it's like to be on a game day visit at UCF. As an example, I'm getting ready to go to a football game tonight, actually two in Jacksonville at 6 and then at 7:30 to scout players. Well, that's the same thing that UCF does. And then they invite players to campus. So what is that like? What does that entail? That's what this episode is about. And to be quite frank with you, it's something that's very important because the first time a young man steps foot on a campus, it could be anywhere in the country, Georgia, Florida, UCF, you name it, it sets an impression. How does this school help me get to where I want? Out of the thousands of times that I've communicated with a player about what school they're interested in, comfort is always the number one word. That'll summarize recruiting in a nutshell. Where am I comfortable? As time has went on, there's also something else that's very important to note, and that is, how do I find a way to get to the NFL? How do I find a way to be comfortable at the process or with the process of going through football from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed? In UCF's case, Gus Malzahn leads the program. They've done a tremendous job with underclassmen recruiting. That's something I've talked about the last few days and for several months. I'm going to talk about that a little bit in relation to one player, just as an example. KJ Smith is a kid at Roswell High School, suburban Atlanta. He's coming down for a visit. He's a class of 23 quarterback. He's got a good arm, has a lot of upside, but nobody's pulled the trigger necessarily in the sense of like the elite college football programs to offer him. But everybody's checking him out and vice versa. He's going to be at UCF for the first time, and he's going to get a chance to see it as far as a game day visit. Now, I'm sure he's been through Orlando. He may have been on the campus before, but it's different when you are a guest. The following kind of represents what most schools do, and UCF won't be much different with one twist, and I'll get to that at the end. Here's the keys. Number one, tour facilities. If you don't have the opportunity to go on a tour, you can look at it online, and that's fine, but you want to see what the weight room looks like. You want to meet a tutor. You want to meet somebody in a program like business or psychology, sport management, whatever it may be. Those are things that will take them on a little golf cart, go all around UCF, and everybody does it. You have to find that right fit. Remember, comfort. You need literally a person that is driving them around, that mom likes, that the player likes, etc. And you also need people from the academic side, the football recruiting staff, and there are plenty at UCF. Their administrative staff does a really good job, but every one of them has a fit with the player, KJ or anybody else included. And then you also have the scenario of the academic people. Whether it's a guidance counselor or anybody else, you need to make sure that person understands, hey, this is a priority. This is what we are doing. This is how we advance our program. And if they don't do well, I guarantee you they will not be on a visit with a young man again, period. That being stated, after the basics, they need to meet the players themselves. Maybe it's just being around them a little bit. It depends on the game. That's where the variation might come. But at the same time, you're talking about kids that they're going to pick their brains. And if you lie to the kids, the players will tell them. I don't care which program it is. A lot of times a coach will say, hey, this is how it is. The player goes and asks one of the guys on the team for that university. If they contradict, I guarantee you the person that wears the uniform carries the bigger amount of weight. It's not even close. And, of course, if you catch them in a lie, it's out the door. Prospect is not going to deal with that institution. It could be UCF or anywhere else. The good news about UCF is I can just tell you from being around the staff at the camps this past summer and watching them, they're just genuine. They just act like who they are. That will help them immensely because as time goes on in each class, this is class of 22, but the juniors are 23 with KJ, et cetera, 24 and on down the line, it's more time to build a relationship. People are going to go and hang out with people they feel genuinely happy to be around. If you're not really happy around somebody, why in the world would you go play football for 3 to 5 years? It's stupid. That's going to help UCF. As in the case of KJ, they're probably going to put him around some of the quarterbacks. He is a quarterback too. But at the same time, he'll get a chance to see other guys. He'll get a chance to see the walk-ons. He'll get a chance to see the big offensive linemen, et cetera. And I'm sure they're going to pick their brain, at least for a few seconds, hey, what's this like? And before anybody asks, yes, if you have a prospect on campus that is way up here on your priority list, he's going to get more opportunity, whichever player that is. There's another big-time player on campus every weekend for a game. It could be a running back, a DB, or whatever for any given weekend. That prospect is going to get the red carpet treatment. That's no different. Somebody like KJ that's just kind of breaking into the recruiting scene, is he going to get the same treatment as like Jordan McDonald, the running back, the recruiting, also from Atlanta? I doubt it. But then again, maybe not. Gus is a really nice guy. He's a Southern gentleman. He wants everybody to be happy around him. And that's probably one of the reasons that the recruiting staff has been so gracious and it's so big in helping these kids learn about UCF. Most of the kids from Georgia and Alabama, a couple of the states that UCF recruits heavily, they don't know much about UCF. They do know some of the coaches. And so do their high school coaches know the UCF staff, and that's the connection. Those kids coming down, just like Tommy Castellanos, the quarterback commitment in the class of 22 for UCF, there's a relationship already formed. That's why this is important. With UCF moving forward with the same coaching staff, year after year recruiting, the recruiting is just going to go up. You're selling the Big 12, et cetera. That's kind of part of the other package they're going to do with some of these kids. Hey, what's this mean? Where's my kid going to travel? What are some of the destinations? What is it like? How's the competition? All those things get into it too, obviously. But it's still about comfort with those relationships. That is number one. If they are not happy, is it really going to matter? For segment 2 of this, here's the thing to think about. If you were a prospect, and you can pick the school, it doesn't have to be UCF, and you were walking into a coach's office, whether it's the position coach, whether it's the coordinator, head coach, or a combination thereof, you pick, what 2 or 3 questions would you have? With that in mind, here are the answers that I've had come to me over a great deal of time. What is my kid going to go to school for? Mom or dad will interject with that at some point. I guarantee it. Why should he pick major X? What is he going to do, and is it going to be safe? Basic parent questions. Those will get interjected. If the parents aren't there, the head coaches will be instructed to ask those kind of questions too. They're very common. If there's not, there's a problem there. They should ask those questions. Of course, safety first. Second, where's my kid going to be in terms of the depth chart? Who's he competing with? Can he play early? Those kind of questions, and it depends on the coach and or coaches. They'll go in depth to a certain level. How much of this takes place? Is it on an unofficial compared to official? Again, that's very subjective. Official visits are paid for. They get 48 hours per NCAA rules. You get 5 of them. Unofficials are unlimited. For KJ, he's probably just going to be there for 24 hours, probably get a hotel, come back, and head back to the Atlanta area. But some kids stay 2 days. It changes. The unofficial is more subjective. The only difference in terms of the time, if a kid really has to get out of Dodge quick and he's an important player, whether it's Malzahn or any coach at any program, they're going to do everything they can to give them as much information without overwhelming them quickly. Those questions I just brought up, safety, the major, and playing time, those are the things that really get into it. And then they just want to know the last part. What about the person? Who is my kid going to be around as the head coach, position coach, and coordinator? Those are the common things that I've had brought up to me forever, and I don't really see why they wouldn't continue forever, to be honest with you. Everybody wants their kid to have a great experience and have the best opportunity to excel in the classroom as well as on the gridiron. How UCF does this, I personally believe, from being around college football a long time, is pretty good, to put it mildly, and it's probably in the 90 percentile because of comfort. The coaching staff are just likable guys. I don't care how well you coach. If you're not very likable, especially with mom, out the back door. It's not going to happen. I have seen numerous situations where that happened. I'm not going to name the recruit, but I'll just give it an example. There was a time when Florida was getting ready to get a recruit about 25 years ago, but then Steve Spurrier went to that player's house for an in-home visit. The parents hated him. They dropped Florida immediately. Spurrier can rub people the wrong way. Great coach, but he is rather abrasive. It's not for everybody. That's why you need to meet people. And sometimes it is just that simple. If it's not a really good relationship, everything else goes out the window. Other people, they will put up with a coach they don't necessarily like as much, but they just want their kid to go to the NFL, and that's what he wants. Everybody is different, and that's why the visits are very, very important. UCF is going to have a bunch of unofficial visits this weekend and moving forward. We are now closing in on mid-October. This is a very, very important time between now and the end of this month, Halloween, to set your final board for the class of 2022. This is what it means. 75 to 85% of the players for this class will make their signature, go across this piece of paper and get vaxxed in, make it an NCAA regulated, and they're going to sign with a college. UCF's recruiting class is pretty close to done, but they got to finalize. And additionally, all those underclassmen, KJ included, that process is getting started. It is very, very busy and also very, very important. UCF cannot miss starting a program, the number one class, the most important class for any coach taking over any major college program is the first full year that you get to recruit. KJ's class is going to be that class from start to finish. Gus came in at a very weird time coming in on the 15th of February, so I don't count 22. That's just my opinion because he didn't get to recruit a lot of those kids for UCF for a full year. It's close. It's odd. His situation is different. Usually coaches are December, early January. Missing a month in recruiting, it's like missing a month of paychecks for somebody out there. Put that in perspective. It's not good. But he's still done a good job with his staff, and they've done a great job of bringing kids in. And now they have a chance to finalize that to get official visits. There'll probably be some kind of banquet or something else right after the season. That's something that Coach Malzahn did while he was at Auburn. And he'll probably do it again once he's done with this season for UCF. That's going to be something to look at. Might be a handful of visits, but some of these kids might turn the visits into game day visits too. UCF could do that to finish out the season. And then finally, there can be a few kids that even though they didn't get them to make a decision or make an official visit between now and the end of the year, there is a second signing day. The first one is December 15th. The second one will be the first Wednesday in February. It's the same, has been forever. The first Wednesday in February. That's the traditional signing day, but they've changed it. And now UCF can work on some of those kids too. It's a very unique scenario. Of course, the barometer that needs to be set here is still that UCF also takes grad transfers, and they take a lot of transfers in general. That's a topic for another day. But right now, just know that making sure that the players that are coming in, comfort is number one. And if UCF can do that and answer some of the basic questions and just show how genuine the staff is, they not only can help finish this recruiting class, they can set up their success for several years to come. It's pivotal. And UCF has a chance to really elevate their program as they get ready to launch into the Big 12 in 2023. And I think it's going to be a situation where they'll continuously take 15 kids or so a year and a lot of transfers. But if recruiting keeps going as well as it is with the high school kids, from what I've seen in the classes of 23 and 24, etc., they could up that. They could cut back on the transfers. That starts with these visits. These kids aren't going to come back for official visits if the unofficials don't go well. And the kids that take official visits aren't going to consider UCF moving forward if they don't go well. Everything depends on coming to campus and liking it all the way around. So with that, everybody have a great weekend. Make sure you check out Inside the Nights on Fan Nation, powered by Sports Illustrated. I am Brian Smith, the publisher, and you guys have a great day.